Hello and welcome to Pals Pulls. This is the Comics Pals weekly podcast where we review comics. We got the dynamic duo of Tyler.
The double dinguses, as they say.
Mm.
Nobody say that?
Speak
Oh,
for yourself.
my bad. My bad.
And of course, I'm Sean. Tyler, so let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Which duo in comics do you think we would be?
Huh.
Like an actual duo, not
Got it.
something you're
Got it.
creating.
Got it. I almost said Cap and Falcon, but that's problematic. Um, because I can't fly. What could
And I'm
we
black.
be? I feel like I don't know. I almost went Taskmaster Eric O'Grady.
Who's who?
I would be Eric O'Grady because I can be a piece of shit sometimes, but I feel like you could be like a good mercenary, you know.
What am I? What? So you think I'm a heartless killer?
If need be, maybe.
This is unbelievable. It's not what I expected you to say.
I don't know what were you thinking of? What thoughts did you have?
I don't know, man. I feel like we could be Sam Wilson, Captain America, and then you could be the new Falcon.
Are you just saying that because I'm Latino as well? Wow.
Yes. That's the same team it'd be if it was me and Marco, of course.
That's true. That's true.
Kale and I are the two Caps, though. He's Steve and I'm
Double
Sam.
caps. Double.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, we get to do that.
hey, as long as we're not Falcon or Sam and Jane Foster, not that kind of dynamic.
No. That's not what I'm looking for.
Okay, all right.
Roboter says I'm going with Bullock and Gordon. Both have wit with one another. That's interesting.
I would definitely be a Bullock in that situation, I think. Mostly because of the body type.
You definitely would be Bullock, but so in my mind, you tell me if I'm wrong. In my mind, in Batman Begins, the guy who's like, "What? Your kids don't like falafel?" That's Bullock to me. I know it's literally not, but that's my self-insert.
I never knew that was a quote. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh my god, dude, you got to look that up. That part is so funny. He's like robbing a falafel guy for money in the street, and he's like, "What? Your kids don't like falafel?" You gotta go back and see that.
How many times have you watched the Nolan Batman movie?
Many times.
Sounds like it. Yeah,
yeah. But that's a meme though. That's a meme. That's one of the earliest memes that I remember.
I missed the meme. Is that like a "You're the Man Now" dog website?
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
Okay, not maybe not that early, but although I do remember that. I do remember that, and I could tell you stories about that website as it relates to World of Warcraft. But
same. Yeah,
we're not here for that. We're here to talk comics. And I am in a mood, so this should be fun. We're talking Storm and the Brotherhood of Mutants. #1 had to get that Stormbreaker cover.
Ooh, okay. That's a good ass cover.
Yeah, right.
That's the what is it?
Lucas Wernick.
Oh, look at him. I think this might be Storm's best costume.
I'm with you, actually. I really dig it.
That's saying something because she's had a lot of good costumes.
It's kind of, if you look at her hair, like may sound weird, but it's a bit of a fusion of the mohawk and the long hair.
I know.
Because I love that.
Yeah.
I think
also, it looks like a giant cloud too, so it fits her motif a bit. Yeah, I dig it.
Yep. Nailed it. I don't know who came up with that, but whoever did do her redesign, genius.
I think it might have been Daughterman. I can fact check that though.
That's what I was thinking too, but I'm not sure. We also have Static, Shadows of Dakota #1. We got Flash 792, which I thought we already read that for some reason.
Yeah, the number sounded familiar to me.
Yeah. And then Batman 132. So a lot of DC heavy week. Batman was the listener pick this week. You guys wanted us to do that. It was a tight one though. Tight one. I think it was tied between that and Lazarus Planet.
I think so. Yeah. Nobody wanted me to read Fortnite Kid Goblin book, but you know, that's on them. I'm reading that later today though.
Hold on a second. Brooklyn Man says, "Sean, you're awesome, but it's time to take the Christmas tree down." Listen.
Explain.
First of all, Brooklyn Man, you're awesome. But I love Christmas trees. They bring me hope. They inspire me. Would you want me to come on this show uninspired every week? No. So let me have my fun. There are still Christmas gifts there. I don't know if you can see that. That's a gift. There are Christmas gifts there. And until there are no Christmas gifts under that tree, it will be there.
Honestly,
I promise.
I think you might be the smart one here, Sean. You know how much of a pain it is to put up the tree sometimes? Get those
Yes.
lights right. Why not just like leave it there and you never have to do the breakdown or the put it back up again?
Yeah, exactly. That's
Smart move.
my thought
Yeah.
process.
And
But,
you're not late to taking it down. You're just early to putting it up.
See, I like that logic.
There we go.
I appreciate that logic. Now, I want to remind you guys that we are having Kelly Thompson on the main show this Saturday at 1 p.m. Special start time that we will be doing for a special guest. So if you have questions for Kelly, leave them in our Discord server, leave them in the comments wherever it is you're listening. We will catch them and we will add them. If you're a patron, make sure you're doing it on Discord. That way we can account for them all and guarantee your questions get in. Speaking of patrons, patreon.com/thecomicspals is the best way to support the show for as little as $3 a month. Which is less than like a cup of coffee these days. You can help us out and you get access to some pretty cool content. Like you get to vote in our book club, which just went up this week. The Black Sad book club is out and we are now fielding votes for the next book club. So that should be fun.
Can we say what it is? It might entice people to
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, so it's a choice between 3 books right now. Avengers Arena. I'm forgetting them now. hold on, I got it. It's Avengers Arena. It's Shadowlands. I remember Shadowlands was on there.
There you
okay,
go.
hold on. Where's my book
was my
folder?
pick? Are you serious?
Yeah, in Strange Adventures. Yeah.
There you go. So you can head on over to patreon.com/thecomicspals for that. Hey, Brino the Rhino, welcome. Thank you for
That's a good name.
Watching. Yeah, it's a great name. We have some well-named people in our community. Hey, KO, if you're not enjoying the banter and whatnot, you can go, buddy. I don't give a shit. Don't come here and say shit like that. Please, we're having a good time. So YouTube and Twitch is where we're live. Make sure you guys are here at 1 p.m. for the Kelly Thompson. Join our Discord server. There's a link to it in the description to anything we're ever doing. So watch that. And for everything else, at the Comics Pals. Let's talk Storm and the Brotherhood of Mutants #1. This is, of course, written by Al Ewing with art by Lucas Wernick. I'm sorry, Paco Medina, not Lucas Wernick. J. David Ramos on colors, Ariana Mayer on letters. This is one of the books that takes place in the 10 era of Sins of Sinister. So this is 10 years after the events that we initially see that lead into the Sins of Sinister event. And Storm and a select few surviving mutants are basically hiding out to try to stay away from Sinister and all the Sinister clones that have essentially taken over the world. And they're on like a rock of Araco or something like that in space. This was the book of this week that I was looking forward to the most. How'd you feel about this one?
I thought the content of the book was good. I thought the art was also good. I don't quite get the point of this whole event, though. Yeah, like, I hate being that guy, but I'm about to be that guy. Continuity. I always tell people with continuity and comic book continuity, it doesn't matter, just have fun. But with the X-Men, it's mattered a lot within the past 4 years.
Yeah.
And in this, I don't know what I should care about. I'm also a little confused on the timelines because it's so all over the place. Yeah, I appreciated what this book was at its face, but I have a hard time being invested in it. If that makes sense.
It definitely does. It 100% does. I want to actually I want to start by praising the art
Yeah.
because
Yep.
I actually thought the art was fantastic in this comic. Paco Medina is one of those artists that I feel like has been around for a while now, and I don't like see the name Paco Medina and go, gotta go buy that regardless of the book. But every time Paco Medina's on a book that I would already read, I'm always happy with it.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like Paco Medina was on a Nova book years ago,
Mm,
but like Paco Medina's been around since like the Initiative era. Am I right about
right.
that? Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I
So
was
like
thinking.
Marvel vet at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. I also really liked these kind of pages here, the Star Wars riff
Can, yeah.
crawl.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Whatever font they used for that text, very pleasing to read. I don't know how to explain it, but like it just looked nice. Do all the info pages going forward in that nice bold text. I don't know if I'm getting old and it's just hard for me to see, but like I was reading that, I'm like, oh, this font choice, I like this.
Yeah, yeah, it was good stuff. And speaking of Nova, actually, he is a
I
part
think
of
he
the
gets jobbed
crew.
out. He gave
Yeah.
+1 to everyone else at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This I don't know. This was a weird one. I wanted to start off with with some of that praise because I don't know how much I actually enjoyed this particular book. I I don't know. Like I don't care about any of this. I've said many times, I'm tired of the sinister dynamic here. And it doesn't. I don't want to spoil too much at the end, but like
Yeah.
this is just more of what we've been getting. I thought that this book was going to be about Storm and the Resistance, and every page is basically just them kind of losing. And even when it seems like they might not have lost, they lose. It's just not that compelling to me,
Yeah.
honestly.
So Roboters on YouTube is what they care about is the stakes of the narrative in this. And I think the issue is that this is essentially a one shot because the second issue of this is going to be in the year 100 as opposed
Mm,
to year 10. So
right,
like it's even hard to maintain stakes there because we're jumping forward again another 90 years. And then issue 3 is going to be in the year 1000, so that's another
right.
900 years. So like uh again it's hard for me to have stakes in even in the standalone issue there, really.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And each of these Sins of Sinister tie-in, quote unquotes, are going to follow a similar concept. So how can we really get attached to what's going on if we know we're going to be jumping, about 90 years into the future every issue? They're aping the style of House and Powers. The problem is
Mm.
that when they did it in House and Powers, there was a clear delineation.
Yeah.
House and Powers generally dealt with the now, and that was the forward momentum. Powers had its own sort of forward momentum, and Hickman did that very well. And there were through lines to which you could connect the present to the future.
Yeah.
But there was consistency. There was
Th-
time to build up the story.
this is Powers of 10 without the House of X,
Yeah,
which I
exactly.
think it loses part of what it loses half of what was good about Hoxbox.
I agree.
I will say
I
though, in
completely
this,
agree.
bringing back some more of Sinister's chimeras, and then in the middle of it, I'm like, ooh, which one is that? Like, oh, there's a multiple man angel
Yeah,
chimera.
yeah.
Spoiler, but there's a really cool marrow maggot chimera that I thought was sick. Flesh eating bone maggots. It was that was cool. So like there's some like dumb fun comic booky stuff in this. Um, but yeah, just it's I'm having trouble being invested in it properly.
Yeah, I'm there with you. Like the Chimera concept that we did get in House and Powers was so interesting and intriguing.
Yeah.
And I was looking forward to the day where Sinister would organically get to the point in the mainline continuity timeline where he would start to mess with that. I don't care to see it happen in the future anymore. We've already seen it. We know what that ends up like.
Yeah.
I don't want to see this.
I always thought we'd get to a point where like Rasputin would become like a main character.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So, it's not that everything Al Ewing does here is good. It's not that Al Ewing isn't doing a good job. I genuinely think that Al had something tremendous going in X-Men Red, which was one of my favorite books of last year. And then now, instead of getting that, which has been so great, he's saddled with telling the story of Sins of Sinister. That's not the story he's been telling.
Yeah. This has no real connection to X-Men Red in so much as the plot of it and the themes. It's mostly like, all right, I get to play with these characters in a new sandbox.
Yeah.
What can I do in a single issue?
Yeah. Personally, I think I say pass.
Bro, I might be pass on this whole event, to be honest. I might be like, yo, buy some eggs instead. You know what I mean? Like,
dude, it's February. This is running until what, April?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a long time.
Definitely giving me time to catch up on stuff I haven't read, though.
But it's just like everything we were enjoying is gone. It's gone. Why would I even want this? Honestly, like what? Unless you just love Sinister, because this event is all about him. What reason would I have to prefer this over X-Men Red?
If you really like the Iraqi and you want to see some two new ones debut, maybe. I don't know. For you speculators out there, there's 2 new character debuts here. One's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Outside of that, man, I can't recommend it, honestly.
Yeah, like Ironfire was cool.
Yeah,
I did like him and what he did, but
I would say if you're an Al Ewing fan and you want to support him, buy the book. But yeah, like
that goes without saying. Yeah,
yeah. Outside of that, though, like, man, I don't get it.
Sins of Sinister is not for us right now. Maybe things will change. I hope that's the case. This is one of those situations where if you have been enjoying what has been happening in Immortal X-Men in particular, then buy it all, because all these creative teams are really good.
Yeah.
But if you're not, this one might be a struggle. So, like I said, I pass.
I'm curious from an editorial standpoint, though. Is this like this is Kieran Gillen's baby and it kind of led here and now it forced everything else to kind of get pulled in with it? Or I wonder if Marvel was like, hey, we need another X-Men event. We just finished a Spider-Man one. We have an Avengers one coming, or Captain America one coming out. It's X-Men's turn to come out with something. Like, smells weird editorially, honestly.
It does. It does. Let's handle a couple comments before we move on. Dan Trudeau said it's not the first time a creator's storyline gets hijacked by the event or meta story, unfortunately. That's very true. And Al Ewing has dealt with that many times.
Oh boy. Yeah.
I would say one of the most in the modern era whose otherwise solid stories have gotten overturned and hijacked by events. So that's nothing new. It's just frustrating that the X-Men had something good going, in my opinion, and it's all being undone by Sinister. Like, not in the sense of like, wow, these characters were on a great track in story and Sinister is messing things up, in the sense that I was enjoying these stories and now I'm not.
Sinister is getting go away heat for you.
100% X-Pac heat. Please get away from me. That's what I'm feeling about this. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. And then over on YouTube, would you call this filler? Roboters 100. Would you call this filler and to just rub Sinister for those who don't know him? I don't think I would call it filler.
For me, it feels like filler, but I don't think you can really call filler until we know it's filler. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like technically this is the main story.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to see a scene at the end where, Sinister wakes up and he's like, wow, what a great dream. I had everything I always wanted, And he's in the pit of the Krakusi. That's not going to happen.
Hey, it's sticking.
Somehow they're going to stop him. And this will be something that really did happen, that maybe only Mystique, maybe only Destiny remembers, or something like that. It's just that I don't care. Apocalypse is coming back. They already told us that. I want to jump ahead, not 10 years, maybe 10 weeks to get to that.
I think in 10 weeks we'd still be in Sins of Sinister.
No. No. Oh my God, you're right. Oh my God.
Yeah,
All right.
April's not
Well,
that close, Sean.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. Well, let's talk about Static Shadows of Dakota #1. This is by Nicholas Draper Ivy, who is writing and drawing, actually.
Hmm.
Co-writing, I should say, with, of course, Vita Ayala. Letters by Ann World Design. So they really kind of took the Static creative team from season 1. They cut Criss Cross out of it and just letting the two young ones, tear it up. And I do think right out the gate that was a good decision.
I agree. Yeah.
I'm going to say something right now that I think will prove true within the next few years.
Okay.
I think that Nicholas Draper Ivy is ushering in an art style to where he's going to be a progenitor of something new and different in comics. I think that he's taking the manga influence that he obviously has, and he's fusing it with big picture superhero action in a way that makes me want to see this all over the place. I love it.
His art feels a lot like Sana Takeda on Monstrous, except a more street level modern take on that.
Yeah.
I only really know her art from Monstrous, so I only really know this real high fantasy style.
Yeah.
But if you kind of like transplanted that kind of very, very manga influenced style into a more Western comic, that's what I feel this is. And I think it's much cleaner with just him. Like no crisscross. Like no offense to crisscross, but I think it was a case of too many cooks in the kitchen before.
Yeah, I completely agree.
This is I think I am on the record as not enjoying the art previously. The first issue one that we read, which I think was one of the first episodes I was on. Honestly,
yeah.
I kind of like this. I think there's some issues with blank space a bit, and framing. Like there's one single panel. That there's also one like single panel and then like 4 panels on the side where Static's kind of just standing a little too awkwardly away from like the gutters, where it just feels the what's the word I'm looking for here? The balance of the page doesn't really feel right.
Right.
But I think the actual content of the art's good. Yeah.
And I think Ivy chooses, by and large, I think you're right that there are some by and large, I think Ivy chooses very bold, very angular, not just panels, but character positioning.
Yeah.
That makes this feel more exciting and like it has more propulsion to it. And I really enjoy that about this book. I can't sing the praises of Draper Ivy enough. This just feels like a great fusion of two art styles that, hey, guess what? They work really well together. Story-wise, though, I wasn't quite as high on this one. It wasn't bad, not by any means. I like how they're following up on Static season 1. Now he's more confident.
Yeah.
Now he's kind of more like a community hero, sort of like Spider-Man, maybe even more like in the thick of it.
Sure.
And I like that stuff. But I felt like this was too heavy-handed on the like police are bad racists and they just hate black people. Like this, like it wasn't the point of the story. It's just there.
There's a way to be nuanced about it that this feels more like you had like a AI that only has access to Twitter coming up with the dialogue. But I did appreciate the fact that we're kind of in the thick of it with Static. Like the amount of times Static as a property has had false starts in new #1s is dizzying, and I'm tired of having to go through the origin again. It's like a Batman movie. Like I never want to see that origin again. Same for Static. Just like it's nice to see him in the thick of things where he's like a hero already. That I appreciated. I did appreciate the like. I know I was just kind of snidely making fun of the dialogue there. But the way the villain talks seems very authentic, you know? Like you can tell this isn't Brian Michael Bendis writing this book, you know what I mean? Like
No. Hold on. Okay, so let's look. So let's look at some of that dialogue because you're talking about Eben,
is
who
that
is
okay, that's who that is, yeah.
yeah, that's a villain from the Static TV show that is making their debut
Yes, when you
in
say
the
the name, that
book.
makes sense. Yep.
Yeah. So let's look at some of that Eben dialogue. Here we go. About time you woke up. Got a couple questions for you, playa. You and your homies are snatching up kids, bang babies.
Okay.
Why?
As you say it out loud, Sean.
Right. So, as a writer, I'm not, far be it from me to give either individual who's credited with writing here any advice at all. I'm talking to the audience. Okay. As a writer, one of the things you are taught is that you should read your dialogue out loud.
Yeah.
Now, when I say that, when I said those lines, did they sound normal?
I actually have that critique for the other dialogue. I feel like there's not a lot, like whenever somebody doesn't use contractions in dialogue, that's where I feel like it's stunted. Where like if people say like I have, like no, that's not really how people talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Like it's that's where I feel like I agree. Like you need to say it out loud, see if it sounds real. Honestly, the best, like when I was writing dialogue, my favorite thing to do, I would go on the subway, I would go to a museum, I would go to a park, and I would just listen. Just listen to how people talk.
So you went to the Brian Michael Bendis school of learning how to write dialogue.
Is that what he did?
So
I thought he just hung out. I mean, it sounds like anywhere he went was just hanging out with his kids, but
no. He specifically says that he used to like literally go everywhere and just listen to people talk.
I had a professor tell me to do that once, so that's how I. A diner specifically. A diner is a good place to hear people talk.
So Tyler, if Brian Michael Bendis had written the dialogue of Eben in the same style that what I just read right now, what would that sound like?
It would be a lot more back and forth between him and Eben.
But can you give us a sampling of that?
No, I'm not Brian Michael Bendis.
Ah, come on.
This is a bit I cannot. I already had more than one beer before we started too, Sean. So
I thought that would open you up. So
well, I didn't put poppers in my drink this time.
The dialogue is not the best, but I do like where this story is headed. And I think this is a creative team who can really do something interesting. If you're a fan of Static from the show, you gotta be buying this. I just don't see any other way around it. Like you gotta buy it. It's so good. And to answer Dan Trudeau's question, this is not in DCE continuity to my knowledge.
Speaking of, though, I think it has a benefit too because it starts referencing the other Milestone books again.
Yeah,
where it's like, all right, you guys are actually are building this world, you know. So I enjoyed that. You see, so Icon versus Hardwire is a book coming out. I'm kind of like, oh, I might check that one out. That sounds interesting.
Yeah. It does give me the desire to kind of want to read some of the other stuff that's happening in Milestone. This is the sort of flagship book, if you will, of the Milestone comics. So it's good that they put the youngest, hottest creative team on it. I'm into it. I pull this.
Do we have any delineation or understanding of where the writing duties is more like a plotter and a writer, or I always feel like that's how it's cut off usually if there's two writers.
Truthfully, I think this is probably one of those situations where they're more using, and I hope I don't want to say the wrong thing. I'm not trying to offend anybody, but like I am assuming they're using Vita Ayala's name and their general relationship with Ivy to kind of work this through and let Ivy be the star of the show. That's what I'm thinking. That
Ivy does Ayala's get top billing here, yeah.
Right. Ayala's name's there to help sell this comic because people will show up for that, but that Ivy's primarily doing the scripting and the art.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's my assumption. So yeah, I pull this. I would recommend this, especially if you like Static, especially if you're into
Yeah.
manga art style. That is.
Ah, I'm turning around from the last number one that I read. Like I read the last Static number one, and I was like, nah, this isn't for me. I read this, and I
Right.
was like, you know what? I can dig it.
Leia.
Yeah, playa. You know what? I think this book should go one on one with the Undertaker.
There you go. There you go. All right. And like lightning, we're on to the Flash 792. This is part 3 of the 1 minute war. Uh Listen, can DC do me a quick favor and just like one bad day, stop giving events and line wide books names that don't add up? Because this ain't happening in 1 minute. This is not a
Trust
one
me,
minute war.
I know 1 minute. And
Yeah. This is not all occurring in
that was
in a
that
minute.
was both a sex joke and the fact that I make all the YouTube shorts joke. Yeah.
Double whammy. This is of course written by Jeremy Adams. We've got who's the artist on this? There we go. They always like to throw me off by putting the credits all over the book. Roger Cruz on pencils, Wellington Diaz on inks, colors by Luis Guerrero, letters by Rob Lay. Yeah, man, I don't want to say this because Jeremy Adams is my creator of the year
You got some skin
prediction.
in the game, yeah.
But this just isn't it. This
I'm
is
out.
just not it.
Yeah, I'm out. This started contradicting its own self at this point.
Yeah.
I think the concept got a little too big for its own britches.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of a sudden, both Kid Flashers can run super fast. I thought that was the whole conceit of it, that they're matched levels, you know. So like, yeah. Once I saw that, I'm like, nah, I'm out. I'm done.
Yeah. This is just ridiculous at this point. Like this had for a book that's supposedly taking place in 1 minute or thereabouts. I guess I won't hold Jeremy to the idea of the 1 minute, but that all this is happening extremely fast. There are so many pages where characters are just standing around. This doesn't have any momentum at all. None at all. It's completely stalled out.
The whole premise that like if the Flashes didn't get to use their speed powers because they're fighting somebody with the same speed force, that's interesting, but we lose that here.
They're not even fighting.
They're not. Yeah, exactly. There's no conflict. They're still planning things.
This is crazy. How is there time to plan? If they're attacking the world so fast that within several minutes, forget the 1 minute thing. Like, let's throw that out the window.
Sure, yeah.
That in several minutes, even an hour of real time, this is all going to be gone. You would think that Barry Allen and Wally West would want to sew this up, not stand around in the living room or the kitchen chatting and worrying about who's doing what. This is crazy to me. The world is supposedly ending. They're going into the future. We saw in the 1 minute war special that they're attacking Earth and they're attacking throughout all time. Why aren't they caring more?
For a Flash book called The 1 Minute War, there's zero sense of urgency in this book.
None.
Yeah.
This is crazy. The kids like take a trip.
When did other Wally start being called Ace? When did that happen?
I don't know. I wasn't reading this book prior to 1 Minute War, so I'm not sure if that happened throughout the run or I don't know. But
I'd almost say there's also like too many people in the book.
There's way too many people in the book.
Like I love the Flashes. Do you really need Jesse Quick in this too? Like, do you need all the extended family? Because like nobody really gets time to do anything, you know?
Yeah. It's frustrating. It's genuinely frustrating to me because I want to love this.
Yeah.
But nothing's happening. Someone's got to do something. The world's going to end. Like, and Barry Allen's just standing around holding Iris's hands.
And like, shouldn't Barry know that like, oh, he's in super speed right now? He won't be able to tell what's going on with Iris. Like,
right. Like, it's so obvious to us, and we've
Yeah.
we've talked about that since the first issue.
Yeah.
Clearly, if that's where we're going, and Jeremy Adams knows that, and we all know it, the Flash is smart enough to know it. The Flash is a very intelligent character. Barry Allen's very smart. He would have figured that out.
Yeah, and the story enough. Like, I'm not really a huge fan of it, but like the art itself is like, at one point the whole team they get into Mr. Terrific's lab, and the final the final panel of the page is like, whoa, and then you flip the page, and it's a small panel of just squares. Like, it's the most non-detailed lab shot ever that has no focal point.
Yeah.
To where your eyes should be drawn. It looks like if you took an animation cell, like just a background animation cell from Dexter's lab that's sold online for maybe like $80, you know, like, because the main characters weren't in it. But if you took one of those and that was your big reveal, it's not for me. I feel like on a Flash book, especially one that has every Flash member on it, you need some heavy hitters on that. And I don't know if this is it.
I mean, baseline, Flash has got to be running fast. And no one's running. Like, baseline. 1 minute war.
Reading a Flash book, he's got to run.
Yeah, I understand how basic that sounds, but that's what's not happening here.
Dude is sauntering.
Yeah. Like, someone has to do something. I don't even care. Like, the dialogue, like, I'm enjoying what Jeremy Adams is doing from a dialogue standpoint for the most part.
I think that's fine. Yeah.
Like, I got no problems with that. And I enjoyed the art. I enjoy the art. I enjoyed the last 2 issues of this series. But this issue, 3 issues in, and by the way, Catherine, not sure how long this is going to be, but 3 issues in. Sorry?
A minute. It's supposed to be a minute. And 4 issues technically because of the special.
Right. Well, please. I would rather forget that I know that happened. I'd rather jump 100 years into the future so I can forget that I've ever read that book. Okay. But for this to be 3 issues deep, and the only thing that's happened, correct me if I'm wrong, the only thing that's happened in the first issue of consequence, Iris and the actual attack. That means there's been 2 issues and $6 of your money in which essentially nothing has occurred. That's not cool for me. I'm sorry. I want to love this, but that's not cool for me. I don't want to pass. I'm going to continue to read this. But this is like the end of the rope as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I'm running out of steam if you want to keep the puns going. I'm getting winded.
The Flash is not, because he's not moving.
I feel like the plot's just running on a treadmill, really. It's going nowhere.
Give me one more.
Speed Force. I don't know.
Oh,
I'm not working well on the... Yes, and that's what I got to say.
Yeah, I want to love this. I really, really do, but I just can't. I cannot get on here and tell you guys that this is a great comic. Despite how I want to feel about it, something has to happen. And the last page, I mean, is that a cliffhanger? Oh wow, they're frozen. Yeah, duh.
I mean, hey, for you Captain Atom fans out there, because I know there are some in this chat.
How do you know that?
He shows up in this book. People were asking about it a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
People are saying, you know.
Yeah. I really, really hope that the next issue picks things up. So let's talk about Wow. Oh my God. We're on to Batman,
Yeah,
the listener
there's
pick.
half the amount of people on this show, so it's gonna go by a little quicker. We're moving faster than the 1 minute war, apparently.
We are moving faster than the 1 minute war. Absolutely, we are. Uh, Before we get into Batman, I did want to read a couple of I do want to read a couple of
Yeah,
comments.
go ahead.
Grant Morrison would have wrapped it in one issue.
Well, I think that is a problem with modern what's the word I'm looking for when the storytelling is like decompressed?
Yes.
With decompressed storytelling. Like you're right. Like you read Doom Patrol, like Morrison's Doom Patrol, a lot of shit happens in every issue. Like what would normally take 6 issues would be done in 2, you know. And I just think that's the way storytelling is now because it's so drama and dialogue based that it's hard for people to do that. I don't disagree with it. I know that's more of a joke, but I agree with that.
I agree with it too, 100%. That's why I wanted to highlight it. I think that this concept works less the longer it goes.
Yeah.
And if you would have said 3 issues, even, and it's just they invade, the heroes are down, Flash finds a way, the heroes win, and you sew that up in 1 to 3 issues, that's it. We go home.
Do we know how many issues this is?
I don't.
I'm gonna see
I
if I can
don't.
find out
I'm
right now.
assuming 6, but I don't know.
This is making me really want to read Miracle Man. I'm like, all right, I want something a little more. I want something I could chew on a little more, you know?
That made me want to chew my arm off, so I'm gonna refrain. But Miracle Man, not Flash.
Let's see. Final moments of the 1 minute war. All right. All right, so it looks like the final issue comes out. Jeez, when does this come out? April 5th. So another one till April.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got 2 to what's that? So 2 to go?
No, it's like 3 or 4.
3 or 4? Okay,
Things,
so
this thing's
it's
like bi-weekly at this point.
so this is gonna end up being around 7 issues or something like that.
A decent trade, yeah.
Decent trade in terms of length, but my goodness, if we're halfway through this thing and the cliffhanger to this one is frozen people in an event where everybody's fast, I don't know where we're going. I genuinely don't. But something that I'm feeling a lot differently than I am about the Flash for is Batman. Batman 132. Chip Zdarsky has definitely taken Batman in a different direction. We can certainly say that. And he's joined here for this story by Mike Hawthorne, who is doing some interesting work. And then we've got Madonka and D Benedetto on colors and letters as well. This is the opposite of the other 3 books that we read. I really like the story, but I'm not feeling the art.
I'm with you, and it's not necessarily the art as much as the design. Does that make sense? Like when you're going into a multiverse, I want something that can kind of like blow my socks off in terms of like the designs of these characters.
Yeah.
Instead, this is like everyone's just hopped up on Venom. Like, I could just go like outside Penn Station if I want to see that. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Yeah, I'm with you on that. That's not visually interesting.
Yeah,
it's sort of
yeah.
It's like
the
whenever
world
Marvel
isn't visually
does
interesting to me.
right, whenever Marvel does like, oh, everybody's a symbiote or everybody's a Hulk, like those types of things are not interesting, and they water down the character who only has that. Like that's Bane's quote superpower, if you will. So why is Bane special if everybody's got Venom? You know,
and like the story of this is interesting.
Yeah,
but the world is boring. It's like a weird, it's weird. And at the same time, though, I'm a little bit like with how I felt with Sims of Sinister. You know, another alternate multiverse sort of thing. Why? What does it matter? You know what I mean?
Right.
So
I'm with that as well. I like what Chip's doing. I think the dialogue is great. I think the writing is generally great. And I guess the idea that we're supposed to accept is that if there's a Gotham, Bruce needs to save it.
Yeah.
He's got a compulsion towards that. And okay, sure, fine. But doesn't Bruce like want to get back to his world, and isn't he concerned about what could be happening there?
This is
Does
how
that not matter?
I think Bruce treats his life the same way I treat single player role playing games. It's where like, oh, a side quest came up, I gotta finish that whole quest line before I get back to the main quest. Like that's what it feels like. What's going on here?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
And the thing for me is that, Bruce is a real father. Bruce has wards who are like his children, things that matter to him deeply. So getting so invested in this without any real interest or concern about what to do to get out of this, that's a little funky to me.
that
Um
you do bring up a good moral quandary though. Like, if it's not your universe, does it matter?
I think the book is telling us that for Bruce it does.
Yeah, I agreed. Yeah,
But he's not questioning if this is even like real. Like,
he's not
you've
trying to
been
figure out
through a
why he's
lot.
there. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Like
Yeah.
when he got blasted by the Omega beams
Heyo.
in that's what comes out of Matt's penis. Um when he got blasted by the Omega beams and sent to the beginning of time, his only goal was to get back to, where he
Yeah.
belongs.
Yeah.
And he helped people along the way and did things along the way, but that's what he was trying to do. In this one, he doesn't seem to be concerned with that, and that's concerning to me.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Did you feel like there was a like once I read this issue, I jumped into it and I was like, wait, did I forget an issue? You know, like did I miss an issue?
Right, yeah.
I don't know if there was like a delay there, but I did have some trouble gaining my bearings again. Maybe that's the point too, because you're feeling the way Bruce feels. So it's like being in his boots. But yeah,
Mhm. Yeah. But even like, I love an issue wherever Bruce has to like put on a costume or like a fake identity, put on a mustache and stuff like that. I always enjoy stuff like that. It reminds me of Patches Malone. So I thought
yeah.
that was cool.
Which it
Um
seems like we're getting soon. So like we'll be there soon. I want to see what his bat suit looks like for this world, because if it's just the same thing, like it's the same suit, I might have an issue there again with design on this. Like have some fun, you know?
yeah. Yeah. I don't know. This is a good story. This is a good story.
Yeah.
I'm more interested in getting back to the business at hand.
What'd you think of the
It's
backup?
okay, right. So in the backup, Tim Drake is trying to, figure out how to bring Bruce back, and he ends up meeting with Mr. Terrific. This is like what? Only the second book I've ever seen Mr. Terrific in.
Dude, you got to read the Terrifics. Fantastic.
The Terrifics. What's that?
It was remember when DC was doing that run where they were like creating new characters, and there was like that one guy that was like their Hulk or whatever.
Yes.
They made the Terrifics, which was pretty much their Fantastic Four. It was Mr. Terrific, Metamorpho, Plastic Man, and a new like I think her name was like Ghost Girl or something like that, Phantom
Okay.
Girl.
Mhm.
Fantastic book. It was drawn by Doc Shaner. Like,
Oh, all right. Well,
yeah,
you should have said that first because that's
yeah, I should have.
and I think the backup is pretty much giving away what's happening in the main story, and that, this is something that like this is something that is a result of Toy Man's gun.
Which
Which I
is a
guess
weird thing to say.
that's just what it is, and Tim's trying to figure a way to get Bruce back. I'm very intrigued by where this is going. Uh I'm into it. Into it.
I loved the art in the backup. It's one of those cases where like the backup art might be better than the main story art, honestly. Um,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love the Miguel Mondonca art.
yeah.
It is what art? There are some shots here that feels like anime reaction shots. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like there's
Hmm.
one of like Tim in his like multiversal suit, and it's got like these like weird shock animations around him. I thought it was great, and I
Yeah,
like
there are
how
some. Yeah,
yeah, I like how singularly focused Tim is in this.
right. He arguably feels more singularly focused than Bruce
Yeah,
does.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, the backup's cool. I'm enjoying where that's going. I'm having fun with that. Toyman's an interesting character that I have not really encountered in comics, so I'm
Dude,
into that.
dude has a gun that turns people into toys now. Like that's potentially problematic.
There are people that I know who I think I might prefer better as toys. So can I borrow that,
That
Toyman?
let's not delve into that one, Sean.
Why not?
Let's avoid that. Let's avoid that one.
All right, fair enough. This was my pick of the week because
Ooh,
I love what Chip has been doing with Batman. I think it's all been great. I might not enjoy the fact that we're in an alt universe, but that's just generally not my bag. Especially because I don't feel like we're learning anything new about Bruce. I think we get it already that, he will never stop fighting. He really loves Gotham and he's unstoppable. So understand all that. But if I put aside what feels like uh something treaded ground, I'm really enjoying this story.
I think I'm with you as pick of the week. The only one that like maybe came close was surprisingly Static for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Static was good. Static was good. There's just something about Chip's dialogue for me that feels really smooth and it feels authentic.
Dude, Daredevil came out this week too. I haven't gotten to it yet, but like I'm ready for it.
Dude, can we read I want to read Daredevil.
But let's put it on the listener pick.
Yeah, but these jokers are so far behind. Imagine Kale having to get on target with Daredevil. Marco doesn't even like Daredevil.
Maybe we wait till next issue then. Marco said the Daredevil character is the hardest to get into in terms of quality.
Mm.
Which, like, bro, what? Like,
Yeah, I
people, I
don't.
still get notifications on my phone of people calling his Alex Ross take batshit insane on TikTok. We're at like 10K views on that one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and people just calling Marco out constantly. So
That's what Marco's good for. Is he'll say something insane.
for insane comic book takes. That's true. That's true. I got to figure out where he said that Daredevil thing. Maybe I could throw that into a TikTok, piss people off some more.
Yeah, it was within the last couple of weeks of shows.
Yeah.
It was a random question we got, but yeah. So we want to let you guys know what our picks are next week. What books Tyler and I at least are looking forward to next week.
Everyone's there. I already put them all in, so I'll describe it. But
oh, all right,
yeah.
Fair enough.
All right. So, Sean, you want to check out Grimm #8?
Yeah. I think Grimm is one of the better books on the stands right now. I've been enjoying it a lot. I think Stephanie Phillips and Flaviano are doing a tremendous job. It is a book that does enough, like it has similar trappings to like other YA stories, but it does enough different that I'm enjoying it all the time. So I'm still on the hook for Grimm.
And dude, Flaviano is like next level now.
Yeah.
Good shit. Yeah. Who else is next? Oh, Marco did Swamp Thing Green Hell. That's a book coming out next week. And he
Jeff
also picked,
Lemire.
yeah, it's the second issue. What the first issue came out in the summer? You know?
Yeah, man.
I lost the thread there. Danger Street #3, I believe.
Yeah.
I have to get caught up. I didn't read #2. I picked Art Brut #3. Art Brut. This is the Ice Cream Man team doing like a weird book about art, and it's like a mystery and a noir, but not really noir. It's more of like I don't even know how to describe it. It was like a fun little detective book. They get to jump in the art and fix things. Like Mona Lisa last issue was having an issue, and they accidentally get her killed. But it's fun stuff, and it looks like they're getting into some Warhol with this one, which is funny because I used to do IT for Warhol, the foundation, and I accidentally almost sat on a piece of art because I thought it was just a Brillo box, and it turns out that was a Warhol piece. So they told me don't sit on that. So, oops. But it is what it is.
Tyler, you almost destroyed a
dude. Warhol. There's some Warhol art out there that's literally full of piss and feces and cum. Like,
excuse me?
You heard me.
First of all, I think you just wanted to say those crazy ass words.
Yeah, I need it for the SEO. Yep. No, literally, he would have his friends over, and they would all just have their bodily fluids on a piece of canvas, and then it would be painted over.
That's disturbing.
That's art, man. That's art. That's New York art life.
That's art.
It's Chinatown, baby. All right. I also picked Mary Jane and Black Cat number 3. So I guess this is continuing the dark web stuff. In my head, that was just a dark web thing. But I guess there was 2 issues of that, and so this is the 3rd issue. So I guess it's a mini or ongoing. I don't know what's going on, but it's fun, and I like these 2 a lot. So give me more of that. And Kale has wanted to. Oh, speaking of Kale reading Daredevil, I guess he wants to get caught up to it because he pulled Daredevil and Elektra. This is the first trade of the newest volume of Daredevil. Which honestly, I don't like how it's called Daredevil and Elektra. They're both Daredevil. Stick to it, guys. Come on. And then Astro City Metro book number 3. I might look for this. I've been wanting to get the Metro books. So, we'll see.
I don't know, man. I think Elektra's Elektra.
Yeah, there goes Marco's mid artist there, Alex Ross. So,
what it is. Yeah. As we all know, according to Marco, another insane take. Alex Ross is mid. Like, let that sink in. Alex Ross, Kingdom Come.
My favorite, Marco being the youngest of us, saying, "As I get older, Alex Ross." Bro, come on.
Unbelievable. I don't even understand it.
He can't defend himself here either.
So the listeners win again, in the sense that the listener pick, which was Batman, is once again not only good, but the pick of the week for the majority of pals, which in this case is all the pals. There's only 2 of us. So continue to vote. Head over to Twitter. Starts every Saturday after the show at some point. Make your pick. You got until Wednesday at 12 to pick. We put up 4 books. You got until Wednesday at 12 to make your pick. If you are a listener and you want to influence the listener pick or what goes on the poll, send us a message. And if we like your decision, your choice, we'll add it to the poll. So, yeah.
As my close friend Diddy once said, rock the vote, guys.
Your close personal friend?
Close personal friend Diddy.
Wow.
Well, I was almost a member of the band. Am I making the right references here?
The band, yes.
Okay, good.
Tyler, who are the 5 greatest comic book artists of all time?
My Rushmore of comics?
Oh, okay. You don't get the bit.
Oh, I lost the bit. Sorry.
Oh, dude, damn. All right.
Is this a Diddy bit that I'm missing?
Yeah. It's a Chappelle Show bit where they did an episode where they replicated the band, and they asked Dave Chappelle's playing a character, Dylon, who was on the band.
I've seen this. Yeah.
He says, "Oh, who are the top 5 rappers of all time? Dylon,
yeah.
Dylon, and Dylon."
Sorry, he went a little deep in the references there, and I got lost in the weeds. But I appreciate it.
I thought you were the reference guy. I thought we could do that together. You always make crazy references.
Yeah, it's true. You lost me this time.
Unbelievable. Anyway, again, make sure that you guys listen to the Kelly Thompson interview. Come watch us live this Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern. So 3 hours later, we're doing this for Kelly.
You guys get to sleep in a bit this week, all right?
I'm very thankful for that. Let me tell you.
Oh, I know. Sean, so inside baseball here. Sean comes up with like the scripts of the Saturday show. It's about like which topics we're talking about when. And I wake up like an hour early and I get it ready for the show. But sometimes I'll see Sean post that in our chat at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I know it's not because he woke up early. It's because he just went to bed.
It's because I just got home.
Oh my god! Yeah, you are a night owl, Sean.
Well, I just got home like 3 hours, maybe 2-3 hours before I posted. But yeah, make sure you guys show up for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Kelly Thompson, 1 p.m., Twitch and YouTube. Join our Discord server. Leave comments and questions there, whether it's for Kelly or otherwise. Just come hang out with us. We're always having fun. Patreon.com/thecomicspals if you want to support the show. YouTube, Twitch, and for everything else, at the Comics Pals on social media. We will see you guys on Saturday, hopefully. Until then, take care.
See you next week.